Hello, everybody. You guys have been asking for this video forever, so I'm finally doing it, okay? You better appreciate it. A while back, I made a video listing my 10 best tips for writing women, and today I'm listing my 10 best tips for writing men. We're flipping the script and talking about hunky, funky dudes in fiction and how to write them right. Let me start things off with what I hope is the obvious. In case you didn't notice, I am not a man. That means I am not speaking from personal experience. Instead, in order to write male characters and to prepare for this video, I talked to a lot of men. Black men, white men, tall men, short men, gay men, straight men, trans men, cis men, all the men. The point is, unlike most of my videos, this advice is not coming from lived-in experience. However, I did lots of thorough research to make sure I was giving you as reliable of information as possible. Combining all my manly research with the many shitty male characters I've read, I am breaking down my 10 best tips for writing male characters, specifically if you yourself are not a man. Please take this advice and ruminate on it. Implement it. And for God's sake, stop writing crappy men. And for anyone who's offended by this video, I'm not sorry, and also seek help. None of this should be controversial, but I know that people are a special breed of stupid, so what can you do? Enjoy! Today's topic was requested by so many people, but in particular, it was requested by my patrons over on Patreon, Cindy, Tina, Angela, and Rachel. Like so many people who aren't of the male persuasion, they wanted to make sure they wrote their male characters accurately, and hey, that's what I'm here for. You're welcome. Also, in case you missed it, the Savior Series fan art contest is going down right now. 3 lucky winners will be walking away with massive TSC prize packs, including signed copies of my books, merchandise, as well as exclusive merch that no one else has access to. If you want to participate, the contest is open internationally and you can enter as many times as you want. I have it linked in the description below. You will find all the details ready and available for you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Wednesdays, and if you want to be alerted as soon as I upload, ring that bell. I give tons of writing advice. Some of it's a little bit saucy, some of it is a little bit cussy, some of it is a little bit salacious, but I'm just being me. I also host contests all the time, so you should totally ring the bell and get involved. The Savior's Champion and the Savior's Sister are available in ebook, paperback, hardback, and audiobook, so if you like yourself some dark fantasy and you like yourself some romance and you want to mash them together, I got the I've got the perfect book series for you. So definitely check out my books. They are linked below. And now I am diving into my 10 best tips for writing male characters in fiction. These tips are based on loads of research, loads of interviews with men, and loads of reading. Trigger warning, I will be discussing sexual assault at this point of the video. So if that sort of thing is triggering for you, no worries, just skip this time and you'll be good to go. Number 1, you know how society has loads of expectations for women? Yeah, it's also got expectations for men. I'm mentioning this first because people regularly confuse societal expectation with biology. Men are expected to be strong, tough, powerful, and emotionless, and thus we assume it's biology. That isn't necessarily the case. Yes, men are often larger than women, and typically being larger means producing more muscle, but that doesn't necessarily equate to being both physically and emotionally stronger. It doesn't equate to being naturally protective, and it certainly doesn't equate to being emotionless. There are a lot of preconceived notions forced onto men that push them to man up. They're expected to not cry and to take charge. They are pushed into leadership roles whether or not they're prepared. This again is societal. These are rules that are forced onto a person whether or not they are naturally suited for it. This is not my way of saying that men aren't strong or protective and that they're actually super crazy emotional. It's my way of saying, as a writer, you absolutely cannot confuse society with biology. If you're writing a story that takes place in this world, the world we live in, you need to understand who your male character is and how he fits into this world's expectations, or maybe even adjust his personality to fit into these expectations. If you're writing about a completely fictional universe that you've created, then you get to make up any societal expectations you want. You don't have to make your male characters fit into the expectations of our world. Bottom line, learn to differentiate between society and biology. It'll make a supreme difference in your writing of any character, regardless of gender. Which brings us to number 2. Men have emotions, I promise. Again, just because society tells men to be stoic doesn't mean they're not feeling a whole bunch of shit on the inside. And no, I'm not talking about anger, which apparently is the only emotion men are allowed to have. Just because men may not be as inclined to freely express their emotions doesn't mean they're unfeeling, which is an important thing to consider if you're writing from a male point of view. Maybe the character isn't crying. That doesn't mean he's not feeling incredible pain, guilt, or remorse. As a writer, you need to convey that internal struggle, otherwise readers won't be able to believe or connect to the character. Sadness, joy, excitement, nervousness, self-doubt, all of these are normal emotions that are experienced by most people within this world. And yes, anger is absolutely on the table, but keep in mind, most men don't punch walls when they're mad. Might as well have him fling his poo while you're at it. Number 3, it's not all about sex all the time. Jesus Christ, people. I know men have a stereotype of being super sexual, and yes, some men are very horny. But I promise you, if they were as horny as you're writing, they would go extinct. They would be spending all their time putting their dick into shit and not working toward basic life skills. The cavemen would be too busy fucking to protect themselves from the dinosaurs charging their way. This is scientifically accurate. I looked it up. Look, I live with a man, and get this, he's able to cook his own dinner without humping anything. Magic. And I'm not saying you should write your male characters as chaste, but writing "my cock agrees" over and over again is too damn much. Calm down. Again, this stereotype mostly comes from societal expectation. Yes, sex drive is innate in many people, but across the globe, men are encouraged to be sexual, whereas women are expected to be pure. These expectations are not necessarily indicative of reality. Some women are raging sex fiends, and some men are romantics who would rather wait for the right person. Some men are too focused on their goals to care about sex, and some men don't care about sex at all, because asexuality and gray sexuality are things that exist. Number 4, underdogs and losers are not synonymous. Everyone loves an underdog. They're very popular in hero stories, especially if the hero is male. But an underdog is someone people underestimate, someone who maybe doesn't have the best reputation. That's not the same as being a completely unlikable pile of shit. It's unfortunately common to write an underdog as the latter. He's not smart, he's not kind, he has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Remember, an underdog has to eventually win, which means there needs to be something going for him. It's just that these positive traits are overlooked by a majority of people. So think of it this way, if the character is an underdog in an athletic sense, then maybe it's because they're small or not particularly muscular. If he's an underdog in terms of politics, maybe it's because he's poor or from a lower class. These are appropriate underdog traits, but you need to offset them with positive traits that not only endear them to the reader, but help them achieve their goals. He may be small, but he's quick, lithe, and nimble. He may be poor, but he's charming, intelligent, and loved by the people. This is how you craft an effective underdog that people root for. Number 5, fuck is a gender-neutral word. This may seem like a weird point, but I see this a lot, especially in female written romances. Ladies, Stop it! When someone writes a dual perspective story, especially with one male voice and one female voice, you typically need to differentiate between the points of view. And it's painfully common for writers to differentiate these voices using the word fuck. You can tell we're in the female point of view because she speaks like a nun. And you can tell we're in the male point of view because he uses the word fuck like a comma. Look, I have no problem with the F word. But that's my point. I'm a woman. It's not inherently masculine to swear, and even people who swear prolifically do so with intention. No one talks like, I fucking went to the fucking store and I fucked with a fucker. If this is the only way you can define masculinity, maybe get out into the world. Meet an actual human male. You may discover that they have a wider vocabulary than a single 4-letter word. Number 6. Did you know the average height for men in the United States is 5'9"? So if all of your male characters are in the height range of 6 feet to 6'7", methinks you're being a bit unrealistic. But Jenna, heights vary by region, obviously. That's true. And a recent poll of 15 different countries rated the average male height as being between 5'11" and 5'4". See what happened there? They got shorter. Your argument fucked you. A lot of people are attracted to tall men, just like they're attracted to chiseled jawlines and six-packs. But unless you're writing about a beauty contest, a strip joint, or another setting where physical appearance dictates relevance, an entire cast of 6'5" bodybuilders with 8-packs and butt chins just isn't realistic. It's about as believable as a cast of bleach blonde glamour models with natural BBLs and circus tits. Even if the man's super athletic, not everyone can get a 6-pack. There is a genetic predisposition there. And if their love interest is the same old, tired, cliched 5-foot diminutive, do they really need to be bumping uglies with someone who's 6'7"? I've said it a million times, I'm all for writing attractive characters, but it's possible to couple beauty with realism. Number 7, dominance doesn't have to be predatory. Ladies, I know you want to write about a strong, confident, powerful man, and I get it. You want a guy who makes you feel protected, but predatory behavior is the opposite of protection. Ever consider that? Dominance comes from a type A personality. It means you have power and influence over people. You're comfortable and natural in a leadership position. There's nothing wrong with this. These are great, desirable traits. But you can write a man with these traits without making him a predator. Having influence over people is not the same as forcing your power. In fact, if you have to force your influence, that's the opposite of having influence. I'm just begging you to understand that you can write a strong, confident man without making him a sex offender. It's about how they carry themselves. It's about courage. It's about charisma and how they garner attention. If anyone of any gender has to force you to follow their lead, that's the opposite of what you've intended. It's not dominance. It's just gross. Get therapy. On a related note, number 8, men can also be victims, by the way. A lot of people seem to be under this ridiculous misconception, and I'm here to correct it. Boys and men can be victims of sexual assault, and they are victims of sexual assault. Frequently. And yet, I have lost track of the number of times that I have read a scene where a character is forcing themselves onto a man, and we are supposed to read it as some hot and heavy sexual awakening. Look, I don't care about the genders involved. If you are forcing your genitals someone's way, that's disgusting. Just because men are supposedly crazy about sex doesn't mean that consent is irrelevant. Men are allowed to resist, and big shocker, they're allowed to not be attracted to you. It's not some proclamation of power for a character of any gender to assert their sexual dominance over a man. And claiming otherwise is a huge slap in the face to male readers around the world. Number 9, alphas and betas don't exist. This whole alpha-beta thing is so dumb, I feel like I actually lose brain cells every time I read about it. First of all, the hierarchy is based on pseudoscience. It doesn't actually exist in the wild. And second, you mean to tell me that all men can be easily divided up into one of 2 categories? Every single man, just like that. Wow. What's worse is these categories essentially represent extremes. Beta males are doormats, and alphas are basically sexual predators. And apparently there's nothing in between. writing. Yikes! This, yet again, comes down to terrible characterization. If you can't write a man without shoving him into one of these terrible man-made boxes, you need to hone your craft a little bit. A lot of bit. Flesh your characters out. Create character profiles. See men as human beings capable of layers and depth. While predators and doormats absolutely do exist, they are not an accurate representation of all men in the entire world. Thus, they should not make up the entire cast of your novel. Which brings us to number 10, men are not a monolith. When people write their male characters in a stereotypical way, usually as womanizing, sex-crazed, stupid douchebags, they often provide the same reasoning. Well, he's a guy. Okay, and? Do douchebags exist? Absolutely. But he's a guy is a pretty shit explanation for regurgitating the same character type over and over again. This may shock you, but there are literally billions of men on the planet, and some of them are different from one another. I know, I can hardly believe it myself. Yes, it's fine to write the occasional douchebag, just like it's fine to write the occasional airhead, but if this is the only male character that you can create because you think it's the only kind of man that exists, all I've got to ask is, what rock have you been living under? It's a weak attempt at excusing poor writing. You live in this world. You know that men are diverse and varied. You've seen it with your own eyes. Not every male character needs a perpetual boner cause he's a guy. Not every male character needs to be a cheater because he's a guy. Not every male character needs to punch drywall or play sports or talk endlessly about tits because he's a guy. A better idea would be to actually practice the art of characterization and create three-dimensional characters. You know, just a thought. I'll let you percolate on that, but please consider it deeply, deeply. So that's all I got for you today. Thanks again to the zillions of patrons who requested today's topic. If you would like the chance to have a video dedicated to you, or if you want access to tons of other rewards, check me out on Patreon. You get early access to all of my videos. So when you see those comments down below that are coming in early, those are for my patrons, I'm just saying. We also have an exclusive writing group, we have monthly live streams, and you get access to signed books. I have my Patreon linked below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Wednesdays, and if you want to be alerted as soon as I upload, ring that bell. The Savior's Champion and The Savior's Sister are available in ebook, paperback, hardback, and audiobook. So if you like dark fantasy, and you like romance, and you like them mashed together, definitely check them out. I have them linked below. And be sure to follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, and BookBub. And of course, you can tweet me at Jenna Moreci. Bye!
Hey everyone, I'm Emma Tigan, narrator for The Savior's Sister, written by Jenna Moreci. If you enjoy her channel and want to hear more writing advice and updates about her books, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell. That way you'll know as soon as her content goes live.